I was reviewing a client's tax documents when my phone buzzed. Family group chat. Adrian. Big news coming soon. Can't say what yet, but it's massive. Mom immediately. So proud of you, honey. We knew you'd make it big. Dad. That's my son, always reaching for the stars. I put my phone face down and went back to work. That night was the monthly family dinner. I showed up at 6:30, still in my work clothes, khakis and a button-down that had seen better days. Adrian arrived 20 minutes late in a charcoal suit that probably cost more than my monthly rent. New watch too. Gold. Flashy. Sorry, he hugged Mom. Client call ran late. You know how it is. Dad stood up to shake his hand. No apologies necessary. Business waits for no one. We sat down. Mom brought out lasagna. Adrian dominated the conversation immediately. So I just got back from Miami. Unbelievable networking opportunities down there. Met with some serious players, crypto guys, tech investors, people moving real money. How exciting, Mom beamed. Tell us everything. Can't share details yet, NDAs, you know. But let's just say I'm positioning myself for something big. Really big. Dad nodded approvingly. That's how you build wealth, connections. Adrian understands that. I ate my lasagna quietly. Vincent, Mom finally acknowledged me. How's work? Fine, busy season coming up. Still doing taxes? Adrian asked with a slight smirk. Forensic accounting. I investigate financial discrepancies for… Right, number stuff. Adrian waved his hand dismissively. Hey, actually, I wanted to talk to you about something. Here we go. I've got an investment opportunity, ground floor. Can't miss. I need $50,000 to secure my position. I set down my fork. $50,000? Yeah, I'll triple it in 6 months. Quadruple, maybe. This is the kind of deal that changes lives. What's the investment? Crypto fund. Very exclusive. You need an invitation to even get in the door. I've got connections with the founders. Which crypto? It's proprietary. They're not public yet. That's why the returns are so high. So you want $50,000 for a proprietary crypto fund that isn't public and you can't provide details about. Adrian's smile tightened. It's called an NDA, Vincent. Non-disclosure agreement. Ever heard of one? I'm familiar. I'm asking what you can tell me. Structure, timeline, risk assessment. Jesus Christ, you sound like a textbook. This is why you'll never make real money. You overthink everything. Mom cut in. Vincent, honey, your brother wouldn't ask if it wasn't legitimate. I'm not saying it's not legitimate. I'm saying I need information before investing $50,000. Adrian leaned back. You know what? Forget it. I thought you'd want in on something big, but clearly you're not ready for this level. If it's legitimate, you can show me paperwork. I don't need to prove anything to you. I've got investors lined up. I was doing you a favor by offering you a spot. Then take their money. Wow. Adrian shook his head. That's really how it is? Don't you trust me? Trust isn't the same as due diligence. Family doesn't need due diligence. Family trusts family. Dad cleared his throat. Vincent, I think you're being unnecessarily difficult. Your brother has a track record of success. Look at how he's living. The car, the condo, the lifestyle. He clearly knows what he's doing. With all due respect, Dad, lifestyle isn't the same as sustainable income. Are you saying your brother's lying? I'm saying I'd like to see documentation before investing. Adrian stood up. You know what? I'm done. I tried to help you, tried to bring you into something real, and you throw it back in my face. Stay in your boring little cubicle counting other people's money. I'm going where the real opportunities are. He grabbed his jacket. Mom stood. Adrian, wait. No, Mom. He made his choice. I'm not wasting my time on someone who's too paranoid to recognize opportunity. He left. The door slammed. Mom turned to me, tears in her eyes. Why did you do that? Why can't you just support your brother? I asked basic questions about a $50,000 investment. That's not unreasonable. He's your brother. He wouldn't steer you wrong. Then he should be able to answer simple questions about the investment structure. Dad's voice was cold. You've always been jealous of him. Ever since we were kids. He succeeds, and you tear him down. I didn't tear anyone down. I asked for documentation. You insulted him in front of the whole family. You're not his financial professional. You're his brother. There's a difference. I stood up. Thanks for dinner, Mom. I should go. Vincent, please. I'll see you next month. I drove home to my apartment. 1 bedroom, modest, clean. I'd lived there for 3 years, paid my bills on time, saved steadily. Nothing flashy, but stable. I sat at my kitchen table and opened my laptop. Adrian's words kept replaying. You'll never make real money. You overthink everything. Maybe he was right. Maybe I was being paranoid. But something felt wrong. Really wrong. $50,000 for a crypto fund with no documentation. Proprietary. Exclusive. Ground floor opportunity. Every red flag I'd been trained to watch for in financial fraud cases. I pulled up my work database. As a forensic accountant, I had access to certain financial records, credit reports, public filings, business registrations. All legal, all part of my job. I typed in Adrian's name. Social security number I'd memorized from childhood tax forms when Dad used to let me help with the family taxes. The report loaded. Credit score, 580. I blinked. That couldn't be right. I scrolled down. Credit card debt, $87,400 across 6 cards. Personal loans, $50,600 across 3 lenders. Car lease, $850 month, 60 months remaining. Rent, $3,200 month based on his address. My stomach dropped. Total debt, $180,000. Give or take. Income reported on last tax return, $68,000. The math didn't work, not even close. I kept digging. Business registration, Adrian Consulting LLC, registered in Delaware 2 years ago. Bank account, Cayman Islands. Flagged for international wire transfers. I pulled the wire transfer records. Public information if you know where to look and have the right access. Transfers into Adrian's personal account from the Cayman LLC. $3,200 here, $5,800 there, $7,000, $4,600. Total over 2 years, $4,300. But where was the LLC getting the money? I traced the LLC ownership, shell company, registered to another shell company. Classic layering, 3 layers deep, I found it. Cascade Capital Partners. I Googled the name. First result, SEC investigation into alleged Ponzi scheme. Second result, investors lose 12 in crypto fund collapse. Third result, Cascade Capital founders charged with wire fraud. My hands started shaking. I clicked the first article. 8 months old. The Securities and Exchange Commission has opened an investigation into Cascade Capital Partners, a Miami-based cryptocurrency investment fund that promised returns of 40% annually. The fund collapsed in March after failing to produce returns for investors. Preliminary estimates suggest losses exceeding $12 million across approximately 300 investors. I kept reading. Cascade Capital, operated by recruiting new investors through exclusive networking events held at luxury venues in Miami, the Bahamas, and other high-end locations. Recruiters received commissions ranging from 5 to 10% of funds brought in. Recruiters. Networking events. Luxury venues. Miami. Bahamas. I pulled up Adrian's social media. Scrolled through the last 2 years. Photo. Adrian on a yacht. Caption. Another successful week in Miami. Nothing like networking with the best. Photo. Adrian at a rooftop party. Caption. Bahamas business retreat. When you love what you do, it's not even work. Photo. Adrian with 3 men in suits. Caption. Closed another deal with these legends. Big things coming. I reverse image searched the third photo. Found it on a blog post from 18 months ago. Cascade Capital's exclusive investor. Mixer, Miami edition. The 3 men were identified. 2 were now under indictment. I kept scrolling through Adrian's cached photos. Most were deleted now, but the internet remembers everything. Photo from 2 years ago. Adrian on a dock. Small plane visible in background. Caption. Private island business retreat. This is how the 1% operate. Comments under the photo, before Adrian deleted it. Dude, that's sick. What island? Adrian's reply, can't say. Very exclusive. Invitation only. I zoomed in on the plane's tail number, ran it through an aviation database, registered to a shell company. Same type of layering as the Cayman LLC. I found 3 more deleted photos, all from island retreats, all with the same vague captions about networking and exclusive opportunities. Flight records showed Adrian made 4 trips to a private airstrip in the Caribbean over 18 months. The airstrip served one location, a privately owned island. I searched the island's owner. My blood went cold. Real estate mogul. Billionaire. Notorious for networking parties with powerful men. Currently under federal investigation for... I stopped reading. Adrian hadn't just recruited for a Ponzi scheme. He'd recruited people at parties on a private island owned by someone who was now facing charges I didn't even want to think about. I sat back in my chair. Adrian wasn't a consultant. He was a recruiter for a Ponzi scheme. And worse, the $50,000 he wanted from me? That would have made him another $2,500 in commission, if the fund hadn't already collapsed. That's why he was drowning in debt. The money had dried up 8 months ago when Cascade went under. He'd been living on credit cards ever since, maintaining the lifestyle to keep up appearances. All those business trips, all that networking. He'd been recruiting retirees and middle-class families to invest their savings into a scam that promised impossible returns. At parties on a private island owned by a man under federal investigation. And when it collapsed, he walked away with his commissions while they lost everything. My phone buzzed. Text from Adrian. Thanks for embarrassing me in front of the family. Real mature, Vincent. I stared at the message. Then at the screen full of evidence. Wire fraud. Securities violations. Participation in a Ponzi scheme. Private island parties with a man facing federal charges. My brother wasn't just in debt. He was a criminal. And my parents had no idea. I didn't sleep that night. Just sat at my kitchen table staring at the evidence spread across my laptop screen. Flight logs. Wire transfers. Deleted photos. SEC filings. By 3 a.m., I'd documented everything. Created a timeline. Cross-referenced dates with Adrian's social media posts and the Cascade Capital investigation. The pattern was clear. Adrian had made 4 trips to that island. Each trip corresponded with a spike in wire transfers to his account. Each transfer happened within a week of a successful networking event he'd posted about. He'd recruited people on that island, brought them into the Ponzi scheme, took his commission. And when the scheme collapsed 8 months ago, those people lost everything while Adrian walked away with $41,000 in his pocket. Money he'd already burned through on his lifestyle. Hence the $180,000 in debt. I needed to confront him. But not at a family dinner. Not with mom and dad there to defend him immediately. I texted him at 7 a.m. We need to talk, just us. Coffee at Fletcher's, 10 a.m. He didn't respond for an hour. Then, why? Me. Just show up. Adrian. This better not be more paranoid bullshit. I got to Fletcher's at 9:45, ordered black coffee, sat in the back corner. Adrian walked in at 10:15. Sunglasses even though we were indoors. Designer jeans. Polo shirt that probably cost $200. He sat down without ordering anything. What's this about? I'm busy. I know about Cascade Capital. His face didn't change, but his jaw tightened just slightly. What are you talking about? I pulled out my phone, showed him the screenshot of the SEC investigation. Cascade Capital Partners, Miami-based crypto fund, Ponzi scheme, $12 million in losses. You were a recruiter. Got 5% commission on investments you brought in. Adrian stared at the screen, then laughed. That's what this is about? You think I was involved in some scam? I don't think. I know. I have your wire transfers from the Cayman LLC. 41,000 over 2 years. All from Cascade. His smile faded. I traced your flight logs. 4 trips to a private island in the Caribbean. The same island where Cascade held exclusive investor retreats. The same island owned by a guy who's now under federal investigation. Vincent, you recruited people at parties on that island, brought them into the fund, took your cut, and when it collapsed, you kept the money while they lost their retirement savings. Adrian leaned forward. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm a forensic accountant. This is literally what I do. I know exactly what I'm talking about. It was just networking. I didn't know it was a scam. You took 41,000 in commissions. You knew. His voice dropped. Prove it. I can, easily. Wire transfers, flight logs, cached social media posts. It's all documented. So what? You're going to report me? I should. I'm your brother. You're a criminal who scammed people out of their life savings. Adrian stood up. You self-righteous prick. You sit in your little office judging everyone, acting like you're so much better than me because you follow every stupid rule. I follow the law. That's not self-righteous. That's basic ethics. Ethics? You want to talk about ethics? You're threatening to destroy your own brother's life. You destroyed 300 people's lives. I'm just documenting it. His face went red. If you report me, I'll tell Mom and Dad you made everything up, that you've been jealous of me for years and you're trying to ruin me. Go ahead. I have evidence. What do you have? I have their trust. They'll believe me over you. Maybe, but that won't stop the FBI from investigating once I submit my report. Adrian's expression changed. Fear flickered across his face. Vincent, please. I'm drowning here. I made mistakes, okay? I admit it. But I can't go to prison. I can't. You should have thought about that before you recruited people into a Ponzi scheme. I'll pay it back. All of it. I'll get a real job. I'll pay back every cent. You can't pay back $12 million. Not the whole fund, just my commissions. I'll give back the 41,000. You don't have 41,000. You have negative 180,000. He sat down again. Put his head in his hands. I'm screwed. I'm completely screwed. Yeah, you are. He looked up. What do you want? Money? I'll get you the 50,000 somehow. Just don't report me. I don't want your money. I want you to face consequences. Please, I'm begging you. I'll do anything. I stood up. I'll think about it. But Adrian, stop lying. Stop recruiting. And figure out how to live within your means before you destroy yourself completely. I left him sitting there. Drove home with my hands shaking on the steering wheel. I needed to tell Mom and Dad. They deserved to know what their golden child had been doing. But I knew how that conversation would go. They'd defend him. Blame me. Say I was jealous or paranoid or making it up. Still, they needed to know. I called Mom that afternoon. Vincent, I'm so glad you called. I've been worried about you since last night. Mom, I need to talk to you and Dad. About Adrian. It's important. Oh, honey. If this is about the investment thing, Adrian feels terrible. He didn't mean to pressure you. It's not about that. Can you and Dad come over tonight? Or I can come there. What's this about? I'll explain when I see you, but it's serious. Pause. You're scaring me. I don't mean to. I just need you both to hear this. They came over at 7. Mom brought cookies, like this was a social visit. We sat in my living room. Dad looked uncomfortable in my second-hand armchair. So, Dad said, what's this about? I opened my laptop, pulled up the files I'd organized. Adrian's in trouble, serious trouble, and I need you to listen to everything before you react. Mom's face went pale. Is he sick? Did something happen? He's not sick, but he's involved in something illegal. That's ridiculous. Mom, please, just listen. I showed them everything. The credit report, the debt, the Cayman LLC, the wire transfers, the Cascade Capital investigation, the flight logs to the private island. They sat in silence. I showed them the cached photos. Adrian on the dock with the plane. The comments about exclusive, and invitation only. I showed them the SEC filings, the charges against Cascade's founders, the 12 million in losses. When I finished, the silence was deafening. Mom's hands were shaking. This can't be real. Adrian wouldn't. He's not. I confirmed everything. Multiple sources. It's real. Dad's voice was flat. You're telling us our son was recruiting people into a Ponzi scheme? Yes. At parties on a private island? Yes. And you have proof of this? All of it. Mom started crying. How could he? How could he do this to people? I don't know. Dad stood up, paced to the window, looked out. What are you going to do? He asked quietly. I don't know yet. That's why I'm telling you first. He turned around. Vincent, he's your brother, our son. We can't let this destroy him. Dad? No, listen. Yes, he made mistakes, terrible mistakes. But turning him in? That's not going to help anyone. The investors already lost their money. Putting Adrian in prison won't bring it back. It's not about bringing it back. It's about consequences, about accountability. Mom wiped her eyes. Vincent, please. There has to be another way. We can help him pay back his debts, get him into therapy, make sure he never does anything like this again. Mom, he recruited people at parties on a private island owned by a man under federal investigation. This isn't a mistake. This is criminal behavior. He's still our son. And those investors were people's parents, their grandparents, people who trusted him and lost everything. Dad's voice got hard. What do you want from us, Vincent? You want us to disown him? Turn our backs on our own son? I want you to acknowledge what he did was wrong, really wrong, and that he needs to face consequences. We acknowledge it's wrong, but family protects family. That's what we do. Even when family commits fraud? Even then. We help him make it right. We don't destroy him. I looked at both of them. Saw the desperation in Mom's eyes, the stubbornness in Dad's expression. They weren't going to help me. They were going to protect Adrian, no matter what. I need to think about what to do next, I said. Vincent, promise us you won't report him, Mom said. Please, just give us time to figure this out as a family. I can't promise that. He's your brother. He's a criminal who hurt innocent people. Brotherhood doesn't erase that. Dad stepped closer. If you report him, you're choosing strangers over your own family. Is that really what you want? I'm choosing what's right. What's right is protecting your family. No, what's right is holding people accountable for the harm they cause. Mom stood up. Then you're not the son I raised. The Vincent I raised would never betray his own brother like this. That hit harder than I expected. The Vincent you raised wouldn't have become a forensic accountant if he didn't care about financial crimes. This is different. How? How is it different? She didn't answer, just grabbed her purse. Gerald, we're leaving. I can't be here right now. Dad followed her to the door, turned back. If you report him, Vincent, don't expect us to forgive you. This family will never be the same. It's already not the same, Dad. You just don't want to admit it. They left. I sat alone in my apartment, surrounded by evidence of my brother's crimes, abandoned by my parents for refusing to cover it up. My phone buzzed. Text from Aunt Diane. Monica just called me crying. Said something about Adrian being in trouble and you threatening the family. What's going on? I called her. Explained everything. When I finished, she was quiet for a long moment. Vincent, what does your gut tell you to do? Report it. People were hurt. He should face consequences. Then do it. Mom and Dad will never forgive me. Maybe not, but you'll be able to sleep at night. Can you say the same if you cover this up? No. Then you have your answer. After we hung up, I sat at my kitchen table for 2 hours, staring at the evidence, thinking about Adrian, about my parents, about 300 investors who'd lost everything, about what was right versus what was easy. At midnight, I made my decision. I opened a new document and started typing. Report of Financial Crimes. Adrian Morrison. Submitted to FBI Financial Crimes Division. My hands didn't shake this time. They were steady. Because I knew for the first time in my life I was doing something that actually mattered. even if it cost me everything. I submitted the report at 2 a.m. Detailed documentation, wire transfers, flight logs, cached social media posts, SEC filings. Everything cross-referenced and time-stamped. 27 pages. I included a cover letter explaining my relationship to the subject and my credentials as a forensic accountant. Made it clear I had no financial interest in the outcome, just a legal and ethical obligation to report financial crimes. Hit submit. Closed my laptop. Went to bed. Didn't sleep. The next morning, my phone started ringing at 7 a.m. Adrian. I didn't answer. 11 more calls over the next hour, then texts. What did you do? Call me now. Vincent, I swear to God if you reported me. You're destroying my life. How could you do this to me? I blocked his number. Mom called. Dad called. I sent them both to voicemail. Then Aunt Diane texted, "How are you holding up?" Me. "Okay, did it last night?" Diane. "Proud of you. This won't be easy, but you did the right thing." Me. "Doesn't feel right yet." Diane. "It will, eventually." 2 weeks of silence. I went to work, came home, ate alone, slept badly. No contact from my family. I'd expected that. What I hadn't expected was the relief. No more group chat drama. No more Adrian bragging about fake success. No more mom asking why I couldn't be more like my brother. Just quiet. 3 weeks after I submitted the report, I got a call from an unknown number. "Mr. Morrison, this is Special Agent Hayes with the FBI Financial Crimes Division. Do you have a few minutes to talk?" My stomach dropped. "Yes. We received your report regarding Adrian Morrison. I wanted to let you know we've opened an investigation based on your documentation." "Okay." "Your evidence was extremely thorough. We've been building a case against Cascade Capital's associates for months, but we didn't have Adrian Morrison on our radar. Your report filled in significant gaps. What happens now?" "We'll be conducting interviews, subpoenaing records, coordinating with the SEC. This will take time, but I wanted you to know your report is being taken seriously." "Thank you." "Mr. Morrison, what you did took courage. A lot of people wouldn't report a family member, but 300 investors lost their savings because of people like your brother. You gave them a chance at some measure of justice." After he hung up, I sat in my car outside my office for 20 minutes. 300 investors. Real people, with families, retirements, dreams. People Adrian had smiled at, charmed, recruited into a scam that promised impossible returns. People whose money had paid for his Porsche, his condo, his watches, his lifestyle. While he flew to private island parties and posted about networking with the 1%. 4 weeks after the call from Agent Hayes, Adrian got served with a subpoena. I know because Aunt Diane told me. Apparently, the whole family knew within an hour. Adrian called an emergency family meeting at my parents' house. I wasn't invited, but Aunt Diane was. And she recorded the whole thing on her phone. She sent me the audio file that night. I listened to it once. It was enough. Adrian's voice panicked. "The FBI is investigating me. They have documents, wire transfers, everything. Someone reported me." Mom. "Who would do that?" Long pause. Adrian. "Vincent." Chaos. Everyone talking at once. Dad's voice cutting through. "Are you sure?" Adrian. "Who else knew? Who else would have access to all that information? It was him. It had to be him." Mom crying. "He really did it. He really turned in his own brother." Dad. "I'll call him. We'll fix this. We'll explain it was a misunderstanding." Adrian. "It's too late. The FBI doesn't investigate misunderstandings. I could go to prison." Someone else sounded like my uncle. "What exactly did you do, Adrian?" Adrian. "I didn't do anything. I was just networking, connecting people with investment opportunities." Aunt Diane's voice. "Investment opportunities that turned out to be a Ponzi scheme." Adrian. "I didn't know it was a Ponzi scheme." Diane. "You took 41,000 in commissions. You knew something was wrong." Adrian. "Whose side are you on?" Diane. "The side that doesn't defend financial fraud." Dad. "Diane, that's enough. This is family business." Diane. Then maybe your family should stop committing crimes. The audio ended there. Diane had left. She texted me after, "They're circling the wagons, blaming you for everything. Thought you should know." Me. "Thanks for standing up for me in there." Diane. "Someone had to. For what it's worth, half the room looked uncomfortable. They just won't say it out loud." 2 months after the subpoena, the family made their position official. Group text from Dad, to everyone except me, but Aunt Diane forwarded it. After much consideration, Monica and I have decided to stand by Adrian during this difficult time. He made mistakes, but he's our son, and we believe in forgiveness and family unity. Anyone who can't support this decision needs to examine their own priorities. Cousin Lisa replied, "So we're just supposed to ignore that he scammed people?" Dad, "We're supposed to support our family. That's what families do." Lisa, "Even when they're criminals?" Dad, "He hasn't been convicted of anything, and these charges are based on information provided by someone with a personal vendetta. We all know who." Lisa, "Vincent didn't have a vendetta. He had evidence." Dad, "Lisa, if you're going to defend Vincent over your own cousin, maybe you should rethink your place in this family." Lisa, "Maybe I will." She left the group chat. Texted me an hour later. "Just wanted you to know I believe you. What Adrian did was wrong. Don't let them make you feel guilty." Me, "Thanks. That means a lot." Lisa, "Mom says half the family is privately on your side. They're just scared of your parents." Me, "Scared of what?" Lisa, "Being cut off. Your parents have made it clear you're either with Adrian or against the family." 3 months after my report, the indictment came down. Adrian Morrison charged with wire fraud, conspiracy to commit securities fraud, and money laundering. It made the local news. Small story, but there. Local man charged in connection to 12 million Ponzi scheme. My phone exploded. Dozens of messages from people I'd gone to high school with, college classmates, former co-workers. "Is this your brother? I can't believe this. Did you know?" I didn't respond to any of them, but I did get one message that mattered. From a number I didn't recognize. "Mr. Morrison, this is Janet Keller. You don't know me, but my husband and I lost $87,000 to Cascade Capital, our retirement savings. When I saw your brother's name in the indictment, I looked you up. Found out you're the one who reported him. I wanted to say thank you. People like you give me hope that someone still cares about what's right." I read that message 5 times. Saved it. Printed it out and put it in a frame on my desk at work. The arraignment was scheduled for early December. Mom called me the day before. First time she'd called in 4 months. I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. "Vincent, it's Mom." "I know. We need to talk. About tomorrow. About the arraignment." "What about it?" "We're all going. To support Adrian. We'd like you to be there too." "Why would I be there?" "Because he's your brother. And despite everything, we're still a family." "Mom, I reported him to the FBI. I'm the reason there's an arraignment. Why would I show up to support him?" "To show that you're not vindictive. That you still care about him. That this was about doing what you thought was right, not about destroying him." "It wasn't about destroying him. It was about holding him accountable." "Then show that by standing with your family tomorrow." "You mean stand with him? Publicly? Like I support what he did?" "No one's asking you to support what he did. Just support him as a person, as your brother." "I can't do that." "Vincent, please. If you ever loved him." "I did love him. That's why this hurts so much. But I can't stand next to him in a courtroom and pretend what he did was okay." "It's not about pretending." "Yes, it is. That's exactly what it's about. You want me there to show family unity, to make him look sympathetic, to help his case, and I won't do it." "Then you're choosing strangers over your family." "I'm choosing victims over a criminal. There's a difference." She hung up. I sat there for a long time after, staring at my phone. The arraignment happened without me. Aunt Diane texted me updates. Whole family showed up in matching colors, navy blue, like a uniform. Adrian pleaded not guilty. "Your parents are crying, making a scene. trying to look sympathetic for the press. It's working. Local news is calling it a tragedy for the family. I didn't watch the coverage. The preliminary hearing was set for February, 2 months away. In that time, Adrian's lawyer tried every tactic, claiming the evidence was obtained illegally. It wasn't. I had legal access through my work. Claiming I had a personal vendetta. I didn't. I had a professional obligation. Claiming Adrian was a victim himself, manipulated by Cascade's founders. He wasn't. He knew exactly what he was doing and took his cut. Every motion was denied. The prosecution's case was solid, because I'd documented everything. In January, Adrian's lawyer reached out to me directly. Left a voicemail. "Mr. Morrison, this is David Blackwell representing your brother. I'd like to discuss your testimony at the upcoming hearing. It's in everyone's best interest to present a united front. Please call me back." I didn't. He called again. "Mr. Morrison, I understand there's been family tension, but this is about your brother's future. A conviction could mean years in prison. I'm sure that's not what you want. We should talk." I called Agent Hayes instead. "Is Adrian's lawyer allowed to contact me like this?" "Technically, yes, but it's inappropriate. He's trying to influence your testimony. Don't engage with him." "I won't." "Good. Because we need you for the hearing. Your testimony is crucial." "I'll be there." The hearing was February 14th, Valentine's Day. Ironic. I took the day off work, wore a suit, drove to the courthouse. The prosecution had prepped me the week before. What to expect, how to answer questions, staying calm under cross-examination. I walked into the courtroom at 9 a.m. My entire family was there. Front row behind Adrian's table. Mom, Dad, Adrian, aunts, uncles, cousins I hadn't seen in years. All wearing navy blue again. They saw me walk in, sit on the prosecution's side. Mom's face crumpled. Dad's expression hardened. Adrian stared at me with pure hatred. The hearing lasted 4 hours. I testified for 90 minutes. Walked through every piece of evidence. Wire transfers, flight logs, social media posts, the Cascade Capital investigation, the private island trips. Adrian's lawyer tried to shake me. "Isn't it true you've always been jealous of your brother's success?" "No." "Isn't it true you refused to invest in his opportunity and held a grudge?" "No." I asked for documentation. He couldn't provide it because it was fraudulent. "Isn't it true you obtained this information illegally by accessing confidential records?" "No. I obtained publicly available information and information I had legal access to through my professional credentials as a forensic accountant." "Isn't it true you're testifying today because you want to destroy your brother?" "No. I'm testifying because 300 people lost their life savings and someone needs to be held accountable." The lawyer sat down. When I stepped off the stand, I walked past my family. None of them looked at me. The judge ruled there was sufficient evidence to proceed to trial. Adrian's bail was revoked due to flight risk. He'd be held until trial. Mom screamed. Dad held her. Adrian was let out in handcuffs. As they took him past me, he stopped. Looked me dead in the eye. "I hope you're happy. You destroyed me." I met his gaze. "You destroyed yourself. I just documented it." Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. I pushed through them without commenting. Got to my car, locked the doors, sat there shaking. My phone buzzed. Text from Aunt Diane. "You were incredible in there. Proud of you." Me. "Thanks. I feel like I'm going to throw up." Diane. "That's normal. You just testified against your brother. Anyone would feel sick." Me. "Did I do the right thing?" Diane. "Yes, without question." I drove home, collapsed on my couch, stared at the ceiling for 2 hours, felt nothing. Then everything. Then nothing again. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered anyway. "Mr. Morrison, this is Janet Keller again. I was at the hearing today, sitting in the back. I heard your testimony." "Okay." Her voice broke. "Thank you. Thank you for standing up there and telling the truth. Thank you for not protecting him just because he's family. You gave us hope that justice still means something." After she hung up, I finally cried. Not because I regretted what I'd done, but because it had cost me everything. And somehow, that made it worth it. The trial lasted 3 weeks. I testified twice. Adrian's lawyer tried harder the second time to paint me as vindictive, jealous, untrustworthy. It didn't work. The wire transfers didn't lie. The flight logs didn't lie. The deleted social media posts didn't lie. Numbers never do. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Guilty on all counts. Sentencing was set for 2 weeks later. I didn't attend. Aunt Diane sent me updates. 4 years federal prison, $180K restitution to victims, 3 years supervised release after. Adrian had cried, begged the judge for mercy, said he'd made mistakes but didn't deserve to lose his whole life. The judge reminded him that 300 people had lost their life savings. That felt like losing whole lives too. He was remanded immediately. Mom and Dad left the courtroom devastated, didn't speak to reporters, just got in their car and drove away. I got one text from Dad that night. I hope you can live with what you've done. I deleted it. 6 months after Adrian went to prison, Mom called from another new number. I answered. Vincent. Her voice was hollow. Your brother's in prison. Your father barely speaks. Our friends stopped inviting us places. The church asked us to step back from volunteering. Our family is destroyed. Adrian destroyed it. I just refused to help hide it. You could have handled this privately. Family therapy, repayment plans. You didn't have to destroy him publicly. 300 people lost everything. It wasn't private. They were strangers. They were people, real people, with families. And Adrian took everything from them so he could pretend to be successful. Silence. I don't know if I can forgive you for this, she said. I'm not asking you to. She hung up. I didn't hear from them again for over a year. Life got quiet. Simpler. I got promoted at work. Senior forensic accountant. Led my own team on a major embezzlement case. We recovered $4 million for a nonprofit that had been systematically drained by their CFO. Started dating someone. Her name was Rebecca. She was a teacher. Kind, grounded, asked good questions. Told her about Adrian on our 5th date. That must have been impossible, she said. It was necessary. Still, losing your family over doing the right thing. That's not fair. Life's not fair, but at least I can sleep at night, she smiled. That's what I like about you. You actually mean that. 2 years after Adrian went to prison, I got a letter. From him. Prison envelope. Shaky handwriting. Vincent, I've had a lot of time to think. About what I did, about the people I hurt, about you. I hated you for a long time. Blamed you for everything. Told myself you destroyed my life out of jealousy. But my therapist here keeps asking me, who made the choices that led to prison? Vincent or you? And the answer is me. Every time. I recruited those people. I took the money. I knew the returns were impossible. I just didn't care because I liked the lifestyle. I'm sorry. For what I did to those investors. For asking you to invest. For dragging you into my mess. For hating you when you were the only one telling the truth. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I wanted you to know I finally get it. You didn't destroy me. I destroyed myself. You just refused to help me cover it up. Adrian. I read it 3 times, put it in a drawer. Didn't respond. But I didn't throw it away either. 6 months later, Adrian was released early for good behavior. 2.5 years served. Aunt Diane told me he moved to a halfway house in another state. Got a job in a warehouse. Was living quietly. He asked about you, she said. Asked if you were doing okay. What did you tell him? That you're doing great. And that if he wants to talk to you someday, he needs to earn it first. Good answer. 3 years after the trial, I got invited to a victim restitution hearing. Janet Keller was there. The woman who'd lost $87,000. She'd gotten back $18,000 through the restitution process. Not everything, but something. She hugged me when she saw me. You changed my life, she said. Not because of the money, because someone finally cared enough to hold him accountable. That meant more than you know. On the way out, I ran into Agent Hayes. Mr. Morrison, good to see you. You too. Wanted you to know, your report led to 3 more arrests. Associates of Cascade we didn't know about. Your documentation was airtight. Glad it helped. More than helped. You probably saved dozens of people from getting scammed by them in the future. He shook my hand. The Bureau needs more people like you. That night, Rebecca asked how it went. Good. Weird. But good. Do you regret it? Any of it? I thought about it. Really thought. No. I lost my parents. My brother. Most of my extended family. But I kept something more important. What? My integrity. She kissed me. That's the right answer. 4 years after the trial, I got a text from an unknown number. This is Adrian. I know I don't have the right to reach out, but I wanted you to know I've been working at the warehouse for 2 years. Paid back $31,000 in restitution so far. Living in a studio apartment, driving a used Civic, doing things the right way. Another text. I'm not asking for a relationship. Just wanted you to know I'm trying, and that I'm sorry. For everything. I stared at the messages. Showed Rebecca. What are you going to do? She asked. I don't know yet. 3 weeks later, I replied, glad you're trying. Keep going. Short, neutral, but not nothing. He didn't respond, didn't push, just left it alone. That felt right. 5 years after the trial, my parents called. Both of them. Together. Speakerphone. Vincent, we'd like to talk, if you're willing. I met them at a coffee shop, neutral ground. They looked older, smaller somehow. We sat in silence for a minute. Then Dad spoke. We were wrong, about everything, about Adrian, about asking you to cover for him, about cutting you off when you did the right thing. Mom nodded. We spent 5 years blaming you, but you weren't the problem. We were. We enabled him. Made excuses. Ignored every warning sign. Why now? I asked. Because Adrian told us to, Dad said. He called us last month, said he'd been writing to you, that you responded. He said if we ever wanted you back in our lives, we needed to actually apologize, not just say words, actually mean them. Do you? Mean them? Yes, Mom said. Her eyes filled with tears. I'm so sorry, Vincent, for everything, for choosing him over you, for making you feel like you had to prove yourself, for not seeing what you accomplished on your own. Dad cleared his throat. We're proud of you. Should have said that years ago. You did something incredibly hard. Stood up when everyone else sat down. That takes character we didn't appreciate. I sat with that for a moment. I don't know if we can have a relationship again, I said. Not like before. We understand, Dad said. We just wanted you to know we're sorry, and that if you ever want to try, we're here. On your terms, Mom added. Whatever you're comfortable with. I left an hour later. Didn't promise anything. Didn't commit to dinners or holidays. But I didn't close the door completely either. 6 months after that coffee, Rebecca and I got engaged. I invited my parents to the engagement party. Small gathering. They came. Stayed in the background. Didn't make it about them. Adrian sent a card. Congratulations. Nothing more. At the party, Aunt Diane pulled me aside. You know what I'm most proud of? She said. What? You didn't let them break you. You lost everything and stayed standing. That's real strength. I didn't feel strong. I felt alone. Strength isn't not feeling alone. It's doing the right thing even when you are alone. I thought about that a lot after. 7 years after the trial, Adrian paid off his full restitution. $180,000. Took him 5 years of warehouse work, night shifts, living in a studio apartment, driving that used Civic. He texted me when he made the final payment. Done, finally. Me. That's good, really good. Him. Thank you. For what you did. Took me 7 years to say it, but thank you. Me. You did the work, that's on you. Him. Still. Thank you. We started texting occasionally after that. Surface stuff. Nothing deep, but consistent. Maybe someday we'd be brothers again. Maybe not. Either way, I was okay. Because I'd learned something important through all of this. Doing the right thing doesn't always feel good. It doesn't always lead to happy endings or reconciliation or family unity. Sometimes it just leads to being able to look at yourself in the mirror without flinching. And that's enough. I'm a forensic accountant. I follow the numbers. And the numbers never lie. Not about fraud. Not about consequences. Not about what matters. 7 years ago, I had a choice. Protect my brother or protect the truth. I chose the truth. Lost my family, found my integrity, and built a life I'm actually proud of. That's the only number that matters now.